This is a Buell B3 locomotive air horn. I will explain more technical details on this horn after the sound clips. Alright, if you're staying for the technical information, I appreciate it. This horn is made up of 15, 12, and 10-inch bells, so unlike Reed's B3, this actually has the emergency / marine variants of the Strumbus horns, which are the most common. So these actually didn't come from locomotives. These two I got as a pair for a really good price, and then I got this one also individually used. And you can see these are actually two different eras of bells. So you can see the older variant, they kind of have more of a kind of like teardrop kind of shape to them, while the newer ones have kind of an oval shape to them. But not to worry, they all mount to the same manifold and they all work just as well. There are different eras of like Buell bells, pretty much. Like these ones you can see have different, you know, markings than these ones. And these aren't used on locomotives very often because of their weak bells. You can see how often they get damaged. This one came off an ambulance, I believe, so you can definitely see that, you know, it being in the bumper, it's gonna easily bend. And even this horn right here, yep, there's a few dents in it. So if you're gonna mount this to a train, Either have it in a cage to protect it from trees or have it mounted underneath the locomotive entirely. But other than the durability of these brass trumpets, these are excellent sounding horns, and they're great on air as well. They work well on a 1/4-inch fitting. Now, this horn's been completely rebuilt with new internals, and you can see right here, these are the original internals. These two came out of the marine horns, and I replaced them because they're pretty warped, and whoever had them last over-tightened the set screws, so they were way over-tightened according to Buell specifications, which, you know, they're supposed to sound at 15 psi, and it took like 30 psi to sound those. And the 10-inch one, seller claimed it was working. This is the diaphragm that was found in this horn. So a bunch of rocks probably flew up during its service life, completely chipped the diaphragm. So I was gonna get a rebuild kit anyway, but yeah, don't believe that everything about the seller saying it's working, because that didn't work. Diaphragm's trash pretty much. And I also had to replace the seat, which luckily the rebuild kit came with an extra seat, but again, this was over tightened in the 12-inch bell. Now moving on to the gaskets, you can see these are actually the ones that came out of the older Buells, and yeah, they're in terrible condition, so I got new gaskets. This one I could have probably reused, but since I was getting a rebuild kit that came with the gasket, you know, was able to replace that. And I thought that most Buells used cork gaskets, but apparently now they use neoprene, which is very nice. It seals much better than the cork, and you know, this included 3, and I now have an extra one in case I need one, so that's good to have. And this is actually some info on when that 10-inch bell was removed from the ambulance, so nearly 8 months ago, so that's interesting. But yeah, this is a very nice sounding horn, and I think that it should be used on railroads more often, you know, compared to air chime, because they definitely sound good, and I think it would be good to have some variety with railroad horns. But of course, the durability of these horns leaves something to be desired. So once horns start being mounted under locomotives or trains, I think these would be perfect for that. But on top of trains, these are no bueno. And you also see a bell down here. I'll get to that in another video of mine. But otherwise, thanks for watching and have a good rest of your day.